All right, good afternoon. You should have a worksheet right now. At the top, it should say Lesson 8.1, Practice A. If you don't have that worksheet, stop the video and get it. But at the top of the worksheet, you're going to notice 3 examples. And so you should fill these examples in as I do them. So example 1, it says 4 squared times 4 to the 5th power. What's that going to equal? If we write it out, 4 squared would be 4 times 4. 4 to the 5th power would be 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. So there's 5 of them. So altogether, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fours all being multiplied together. So that would be equal to 4 to the 7th power. And for now, we're just going to leave it that way for this first section, 4 to the 7th power. So you multiply, and basically, that means you're just going to raise it to that power, how many times you're multiplying it together. So in example 2, x to the 3rd means we're going to have x being multiplied together 3 times. And then we'll have x squared, which means x being multiplied together another 2 times, which gives us x to the, there's 5 of them there now, so x to the 5th. Notice, what did you do with those exponents when you multiplied? You took 3 plus 2 and you got 5. So in our last example in this section, we've got y to the 4th times y. Notice there's no exponent on that y, so it's like being raised to the 1st. Let's put a little first up there above that y, and then y to the 7th. So without even writing this all out, we know we just add the exponents, and we're going to get y to the 4 plus 1 plus 7. That's going to add up to 12. So you're going to get y to the 12th. So you should have those 3 examples filled in there. That will help you with that first chunk of problems. A little farther down the paper, you should see examples 4, 5, and 6. Notice a slightly different problem here. First one says that we have 3 to the 2nd power raised to the 3rd power. So first of all, 3 squared, we have to do that 3 times. So it'd be like times 3 squared times 3 squared. So that 3 to the 3rd, or 3 squared raised to the 3rd, that's why I wrote it down 3 times. Okay, so basically now we're multiplying, so we'll add our exponents. This will become 3 to the 6th power. So notice, what did you do with your exponents here? We had 3 squared raised to the 3rd power. Powers to powers, you multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. So we got that exponent of 6 up there. Let's take a look at example 6. Okay, we got negative 2 raised to the 3rd power, then raised to the 3rd power again. So this will become negative 2 raised to the 3 times 3. That will be the 9th power. Powers to powers, you multiply. If I actually work that out, if I took negative 2, first of all, I've got a negative. That's negative multiplying together 9 times. Every pair of negatives cancels out and you get a positive. So I have one negative that's not being, canceled out. So my answer is going to be negative 2 to the 9th power. I'm going to quick plug that in my calculator and see there. 2 raised to the 9th power. I'm going to get 512. But that negative is still there. So 512. So a negative 512. But again, 3 to the 3rd power, that 3 to the 3 powers to powers, you multiply. And our last example in this part, we got negative 2, and now it's raised to the, 4 times 2 to the 8th power. In this case, the negative in front of that 2, if you raise it to the 8th power, there will be 8 negatives. Every pair cancels out, so the negative is gone. If I took 2 to the 8th power, I'm going to end up with 256. And that will be positive. Okay, so see the little box on the side of your paper? It says, in general. Let's fill these in here. So the first one, 3 squared times 3 to the 3rd. This case, we're multiplying, so we will add the exponents. So we'll get 3 to the 5th power. But then if I take 3 squared, raise it to the third power, powers to powers, you multiply. So you're going to get 3 to the 6th power. So be sure you write that down. The next two examples, just kind of doing the same thing. X to the 4th times x to the 6th. Here again, you will add your exponents. You'll get x to the 10th. But on the bottom one, x to the 4th raised to the 6th power, you'll multiply your exponents. You'll get x to the 24th. Flip your worksheet over. That was a nice interruption. Anyway, so then back page, there's 3 more examples, okay? So the first one is we have the 3 to the 3rd power. So 3 is being raised to the 3rd, so I'll write that 3 to the 3rd. And then we have x squared raised to the 3rd power. So powers to powers, you'll multiply. So we'll have x to the 6th. 2 times 3 is 6. We can simplify this a little bit more because 3 to the 3rd power is 3 times 3 times 3, 27, x to the 6th. Let's do the example number 8. First of all, we have negative 2 squared. So the negative 2 squared. Well, let's do that one in our head. Negative 2 times negative 2. The negative times the negative will cancel out. We'll get a positive 4. X to the 4th raised to the 2nd. Powers to powers, you multiply. You're going to get x to the 8th. Now on the next part, you've got to be careful. That negative that's in front of the x on the x to the 4th, that negative is not being raised to the 4th power, just the x's. And that negative won't go away. So I'm going to put in the front of the whole problem. We still have times x to the 4th. Final answer, simplified, I'll still have the negative 4x powers. When you're multiplying, you'll just add them. 8 plus 4, x to the 12th. And the last example here, the first thing we're going to have is 10 raised to the 4th power. 10 raised to the 4th power, and then we'll have x raised to the 4th power. The next chunk, the negative with the x to the 3rd, is not being raised to a power. It's not going to go away. I'm going to put that negative out in front, but we still have times x to the 3rd. The negative in the next part, that negative x, the whole problem is being raised to the 2nd, including the negative. A negative squared, negative times negative, that's going to be gone. That negative will be out of there, but you still have the x squared. Simplify it a little farther. There's still a negative in front. 10 to the 4th power. So it's basically a 1 with 4 zeros. 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. A 10 with 4 or a 1 with 4 zeros. So it'll be 1 and then 0, 0, 0, 0. So 10,000. And then x to the, add your exponents. 4 plus 3 is 7 plus 2 is 9. X to the 9th. Okay, so good luck there. Do those problems through 33.